Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about my top 3 passive income plays on Arbitrum and share how I would combine those to form a passive income DeFi portfolio in the Arbitrum ecosystem. Arbitrum is a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. And before I go into the video, I want to remind you that nothing I say is financial advice. You should still do your own research, of which this video can be an important part. With that being said, let's get into it. First, real quick aside on why Arbitrum and why now. Arbitrum just launched an upgrade known as Arbitrum Nitro last week, which is allowing them to be much faster and process many more transactions. Now that we're ready to build a passive income portfolio on Arbitrum, let's establish a quick framework for what exactly we'll include in that portfolio. First criteria of the framework is that we want exposure to both blue chip assets and to the Arbitrum ecosystem. So blue chip assets, that's Ethereum, that is Bitcoin, that might even include some stable coins. And then the Arbitrum ecosystem, of course, are your top protocols within Arbitrum. If you don't want exposure to the Arbitrum ecosystem, you may want to consider why exactly you're building a portfolio on Arbitrum in the first place, because although the rates are good, there are lots of other ecosystems out there. Second criteria is we want our risk spread across multiple protocols. A lot of times you see this where people will think they're diversified because they're in 2 or 3 different coins, but then all of those coins are deposited onto the same protocol. So if that protocol gets hacked, then you're completely wiped out. So we want to spread our risk across multiple protocols, and that's good practice in general. And then third and finally, we want 5 or fewer positions. Some people, they'll have 7, 8, 9, 10 positions. That's too much to manage, in my opinion, especially if it's all in the same ecosystem, and it's not really that necessary. So for this portfolio, which would not be an entire portfolio usually, but for this portfolio, we're just going to stick to 5 or fewer positions. And then as we're constructing our portfolio, the 6 things that we want to record are the risk level for each, because we don't want to have everything at the highest risk level, the protocol for each, so we can make sure we're diversified, the pool, of course, the yield source, because you should always know where your yield is coming from, the APR, and then the percent allocation. And so as we build out this portfolio over the next few minutes, I'll fill out each of these in turn. The first protocol for our portfolio on Arbitrum should be no surprise. It is GMX. GMX is the largest protocol on Arbitrum and is one of the top performers of the bear market so far. GMX is a decentralized perpetual exchange, so basically that means they allow leverage trading on chain. If that interests you, then I do have a referral code that you can use to get a discount. Code is Dynamo on the screen and down in the description. But if that doesn't interest you, you can still earn pretty good passive income from GMX from other traders who are paying fees to trade. That's right. So you can buy their GMX token, stake it here, and then you receive an APR of 13.28%, 7.48% of which is escrow GMX. So that is GMX that you can stake in the future or you can vest over an extended period. And then 5.8% of that is ETH. So that's actually fees people are paying to use the platform, 30% of which get distributed back to GMX stakers. And so that's the first opportunity on GMX, and definitely we'll take care of this. One thing I like about GMX as a coin is that I view it almost as a proxy for Arbitrum itself. Eventually Arbitrum may come out with their own token, but because it's the largest protocol and Arbitrum doesn't have a token, I kind of view it as a proxy for Arbitrum itself. And then the second opportunity on GMX that I think we'll also take advantage of is GLP. GLP is basically liquidity for people who are leverage trading, and they receive 70% of the fees. And you can see that that comes out to 28.76%. So that rate is very good, especially once I show you what exactly those assets are. So if we go over here to the dashboard, then we can see that that GLP is 42% USDC, 27% ETH, 18% Bitcoin, 7% DAI, and then some other assets like USDT, Link, and Uni. So that's pretty good rate for what those tokens are, and that's definitely going to be a part of our portfolio as well. So going back over to our portfolio tracker, I would rate GLP as low risk and GMX as mid risk, because even though it's been performing pretty well recently, it has already come up a lot, and it is also still market cap of over 100. So you can see the yield source of each of them here that we just talked about. And then I would put 25% of this Arbitrum portfolio towards each of these tokens. And that's how I would put GMX into this portfolio. Moving on to the next protocol, another DeFi project that is on Arbitrum that is, I think, a driver of the ecosystem is one known as Dopex. Dopex is a decentralized options exchange. And one thing that you might notice that I've started to think as well is that Arbitrum seems to be attracting a lot of these more serious, complex on-chain financial protocols. So basically, Dopex allows various on-chain options strategies, and they have their native DPX token. You can also stake DPX, and you can earn 22% yield on it that way, but you have to stake it for up to 4 years to get the maximum amount of VDPX. So I would want exposure to DPX in this portfolio because I think that's one of the DeFi protocols that's driving the Arbitrum ecosystem, but I wouldn't do it in Dopex itself. Instead, I would use the secondary protocol known as Jones DAO. That's jonesdao.io. And Jones DAO allows you to actually automate some of these option strategies from DPX. So they have a DPX vault here that has averaged 15.56% APY. Currently, it's saying 9.51% APY. So that's what we'll go with for this portfolio. And yeah, you can deposit your DPX there. You get JDPX in exchange, and then they use various automated option strategies. Unfortunately, this vault is closed right now. So what you'll have to do instead is you'll have to go over to Sushi Swap and swap your DPX for JDPX. But that's actually not all. So once you get your JDPX, what you can do next is you can go over here to the staking section in Jones DAO, and you can actually provide liquidity between JDPX and DPX. So you'll need to have equal dollar amounts of both, and then you can get 18.57% interest on these two tokens, and that's paid out as Jones. So I know this is getting maybe a little confusing, but basically what you are doing here is you are swapping DPX for JDPX, which represents a position in this vault. So you're earning 9.51% on that half of the liquidity pool. And then you're pairing that with DPX, and you are adding liquidity over here on Sushi Swap. And then you are depositing those liquidity tokens here on Jones DAO for another 18.57%, which is paid out as Jones tokens. And if you do the math on all of these, which I took the liberty of doing ahead of time, then it comes out to right around 24%. And you can see that the yield here is a combination of option strategies and Jones rewards. Moving on to my third and final top passive income opportunity on Arbitrum, I'm going to go to an old DeFi favorite, and that is Sushi Swap. So app.sushi.com. You, of course, have to be connected to the Arbitrum chain. And if you look at the farms here, then a lot of these rates are quite substantial. So a few that jump out to me that I'm going to pick for this portfolio are ETH USDT has currently 48.75% APR. And of that, 44.7% comes from fees and 4% comes from rewards. So those are sushi rewards, of course. And yes, this is probably not going to stay this high forever because today has been a very big day as far as trading. I'm making this on September 7th, 2022. But this rate has been pretty good for a while, and I expect it to still stay very competitive. And then I'm also going to do Magic and ETH. Magic is an NFT/GameFi ecosystem on Arbitrum. Again, we want exposure to the Arbitrum ecosystem. We don't have any exposure to NFTs or GameFi in this portfolio yet. So I really like this one, and who can complain about a 68% APR, and that APR comes 12% from fees, 56% from rewards, and those rewards are a combination of Sushi and Magic tokens. And so that will round out our portfolio. And with the rates on those, I would allocate 25% of the portfolio to that ETH USDT. I would consider that to be low risk because Sushi is one of the oldest, most trusted DeFi protocols, and ETH and USDT are both top assets. And then I would put 10% towards the Magic ETH LP, which would also be high risk. So with the portfolio totally rounded out, we now have 50% in these low risk assets. We have 25% in the mid risk GMX, and we have 25% in the high risk Jones DAO and magic ETH pool on Sushi Swap. And with these rates and these allocations, then our total portfolio weighted APR would be around 33.1%, which is, I think, a pretty nice APR given that we're in a bear market and given that we have exposure to all of these protocols that I would be interested in holding anyways. That's all for today. Let me know what you think about this portfolio in the comments and if there's any other ways that you're earning passive income on Arbitrum right now. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.